Well, I was told by a band member that it means saving each other's lives, which is a really heavy sort of thing. But when you think about it, it's really what we're doing. We're saving the plants' lives, and the plants are saving our lives and helping to make them better by giving us healthier living.
Anishinaabe people, or just people in general, that have a responsibility to grow things to provide for our own care and living and sustenance.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're relatively new to the program. What's the history of it?
Well, we are funded by a grant from the USDA. I think the grant was written last summer and fall, and they wanted to sort of complement the Giizis program and sort of have this like a hands-on type of thing with a demonstration garden and interns who make house calls. And we also have workshops every couple of months. We're supposed to be doing weekly hands-on demonstrations, but there hasn't been a whole lot of interest in that. So that's, hopefully it'll pick up soon.
Interns go out to band members' houses and will work with them in their garden?
Exactly. Yep. The idea behind it was that these interns would go to people's houses and sort of implement the features that we have in the demonstration garden. But what's really been happening is we're going to people's houses to weed, and that's fine because there hasn't been a huge demand for help. But really what we're supposed to be doing is helping people create these things in their gardens that we have in ours. But we're fine just weeding. That's okay.
So it's kind of like that gets people out there, gets them connected, gets them comfortable with the garden helpers or garden assistants, and then there's some education that's ultimately a part of the process too.
Right, yeah.
What are these traditional practices in the gardens?
Some of the things that we're doing are mounded rows and corn hills and Three Sisters systems. The mounded rows help to warm up the soil faster than they would if the plants were just in flat beds. It also helped us, it saved the garden from the recent flood because we actually had 2 or 3 inches of water in the garden, but since all the plants were raised, they weren't adversely affected, so that was really cool.
Where did this mounded rows idea come from?
We got it from Bill Gardner, who is a professor at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. He has done some work on archaeological evidence of Ojibwe agriculture of the past, and he's discovered these ridged fields or mounded rows in places all over the U.S.
So it helps with the warming of the soil in the climate.
Yes.
But it also helps in flooding. We had this 500-year flood, and it protected plants in our garden.
Right, yeah.
When the flooding came, were you wondering that, or were you like, I just hope there's something left, or what was that like?
I actually didn't know that it was going to be so bad. So I didn't know, I wasn't thinking anything, and then I came to the garden and I saw that there was all this water there, but all the plants looked okay, so I was just glad to have the waters and to know that we didn't have to water the garden that week.
So I want to ask you about the Three Sisters in a minute. That's one that I've seen used around here, but what was the other practice that you talked about?
Corn hills. It's pretty similar to the mounded rows. It's a Three Sisters system with the corn, squash, and beans all planted in a hill. And one of the things that Bill Gardner talked about in his presentation, he was here back in March, he talked about how corn is sort of like the breasts of the earth, and breasts come in twos, and so corn hills are supposed to come in twos also. So I think we have 18 corn hills in our demonstration garden.
And it's important that they're in balance like that, scientifically or just culturally, or you don't know?
I think it's more of a cultural thing than scientific.
When you're out there connecting with the earth in that way, or maybe working with elders or other community members on their garden, is there more than gardening going on there? Is there some, connection to culture and to, like these ancient practices that you talked about?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, it's great meeting new people. It's great being around other gardeners and just seeing what other people are doing with their land, and it's really fun.
Mm-hmm. In spite of the flooding, you're having a pretty good year in the garden, though, right?
Absolutely, yes. Everything looks gorgeous right now.
you have some crops that you're going to share with the community?
Yes. We have a lot of kale right now. We also have spinach and lettuce and radishes and basil and oregano. And we had made plans a few months ago, like theoretically, that we're going to give about half of our produce to the cultural feasts. But so far, there hasn't been any demand for the produce yet, and so we decided to just give it away to the community.
So you're also a master gardener, so I'm going to ask you kind of a gardening question. I'm not a gardener.
Okay.
You know, you have the kale and some other things that are like ready now. Are there other things that are going to be ready over the next, say, 6 weeks or so?
Definitely. We've got some little baby zucchinis growing right now. I think our peppers have flowered. Some of our tomatoes are flowering. We'll probably have potatoes soon. Our lettuce is going to be ready pretty soon, too. We've got a new crop of radishes that's coming up. The ones that we have right now are getting a little overgrown. But we have some more that are planted in succession, so they're a little bit younger and smaller.
Are radishes, are they a native crop to our region?
I don't believe so, no.
But a lot of those crops that you're working on they're Native American crops or Native Ojibwe crops, right?
Yes, they are, like the corn, the squash, beans, potatoes, peppers, tomatoes, sunchokes. We also have a lot of native berries, like June berries. And
hold on, you have berries in that garden over there?
Yes, we do.
I'm going to go over there when we're done.
Okay. Oh, well, we have berry bushes. I should clarify that. No ripe berries yet. I think we're going to have some choke berries soon. And there are actually, I'm wrong, there are some ripe blueberries too.
Really?
Yes.
How do you keep the varmints? How do you keep the muckwa and waboos and all those creatures out of there?
We haven't, as far as I can tell, we haven't had any waboos in there. The deer have gotten in, but we've finished our fence. We have an 8-foot fence right now. And as long as the gates stay closed, I think the deer will not be able to get in.
Mm-hmm. People can stop by this afternoon starting at 3?
Yep, 3 o'clock. We're going to start giving away our produce. As soon as I'm done here with this interview, I'm going to go start harvesting with the crew. All
right. And then if they want someone to come out and meet with them, coach them with their garden, who's eligible for that?
Anyone in the Fond du Lac community, anyone who lives around this area. We don't really want to drive outside the reservation unless it's within about 5 miles or so.
Okay. So roughly Cloquet, Brookston, Sawyer, you're good there?
Right, yeah.
Otherwise, maybe call and see if you're eligible?
Yeah.
Okay. And that includes non-native people on the reservation too?
It does, yes.
Okay. How do they get a hold of you, Danielle?
They can call me at 218-878-7137, or they can email me, Danielle Diver at fdlres.com. That's DANIELLEDIVER at fdlrez.com.
Okay. And what if people just want to learn some more about this, the mounds or the Three Sisters or other things? Can you coach them on that, or can you send them somewhere?
Sure, definitely. I also have a blog that I update weekly or near weekly. The address for that is www.Ojibwe Garden Program, all one word, .wordpress.com.
Ojibwe Garden Program.wordpress.com. Okay, so we'll link to that on the WGZS Facebook page, too.
Great.
Thanks, Danielle. People can start coming over at 3 o'clock, get some food, and then get their bellies full, head over to the powwow or whatever it is you're doing this weekend.
Please do, and we're going to also hand out recipes so that you can figure out what to do with this crazy vegetable called kale.
You're holding out on me. That was one of my questions, but I was a little bit, but it's the unasked question that's the one. That's the bad question sometimes, isn't it? So
sometimes.
You do have kale recipe. You have a plan for me to get my kids to eat kale?
Yes.
Something like that? Okay. All right. Miigwech. Gigawabaman, Danielle.
Miigwech.